Hey dear friends! Today we're diving into a story that feels like it jumped straight out of a political thriller. Imagine getting a phone call where the leader of one of the most powerful countries on earth tells you bluntly, you need to leave your own country right now. Well, that's exactly what reportedly happened between President Trump and Venezuela's Nicolás Maduro, and it's shaking up global politics in a big way. So, let's talk about what went down, why this moment matters, and what the world might be heading toward next. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts along the way, so be ready to drop your opinions in the comments. According to reports, President Trump got on the phone with Maduro and delivered a direct ultimatum: leave Venezuela immediately, and the US would guarantee safe passage not just for him, but also for his wife, his son, and even some of his top allies. That's a huge offer when you think about it. Safe exits like that are usually part of major political transitions or negotiated exiles. But here, it was presented almost like a final warning, an offer to save yourself and those closest to you, as President Trump reportedly put it. But Maduro didn't take the deal. In fact, he pushed back with demands that the US simply wasn't willing to accept. He wanted international amnesty. He wanted his inner circle protected. And this is the big one. He wanted to remain in control of Venezuela's armed forces. So basically, step aside but still hold the power? That wasn't going to happen. And when both sides wouldn't move, the talks collapsed on the spot. That moment right there is what turned a tense situation into something much more explosive. It raises a question I want to ask you. If you were in Maduro's position and a global superpower offered you a guaranteed safe exit, would you take it? Or would you double down like he did? There's no easy answer, but I'm curious what you think. Now, to understand why this phone call matters so much, we need a bit of context. The US under President Trump has been increasing pressure on Venezuela for months, labeling certain groups tied to the Venezuelan government as terrorist organizations, accusing the Maduro administration of being involved in narcotics trafficking and expanding military presence in the Caribbean. We're talking warships, submarines, surveillance aircraft, not a small show of force. So when you look at it that way, this ultimatum wasn't random. It was part of a wider campaign to force political change in Venezuela. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing probably depends on your perspective, and honestly, it raises another question for all of us. When, if ever, should one country try to push another country's leader out of power? It's a complicated thing, balancing sovereignty, global security, and humanitarian concerns. But the fallout didn't stop with just a rejected phone call. After the breakdown, President Trump issued another major announcement, warning that Venezuelan airspace should be considered closed completely. That sent airlines scrambling, rerouting flights, or canceling them altogether. Venezuela called the move a colonialist threat, accusing the US of trying to intimidate the country into submission. And here's where things really start to feel intense. President Trump reportedly hinted that operations by land could begin very soon if needed. When a US president says something like that, the world listens closely. It doesn't mean conflict will happen, but it means the option is on the table, and that alone can shake global markets and terrify neighboring countries. So now we're in a moment where one leader is refusing to leave, another is turning up the pressure, airspace is effectively shut down, and military movements are happening just off the coast. The whole world is watching this geopolitical standoff unfold in real time. What direction it goes next? No one actually knows. And that leads to another big question worth thinking about. Do you think this kind of pressure will push Maduro out, or will it just push him deeper into defiance? History has examples pointing both ways, so your guess might be as good as any expert's. There are a few possible paths from here. 1. The US might keep tightening the screws, more sanctions, more isolation, and maybe even more military presence. 2. Behind-the-scenes negotiators could try again, possibly offering terms that both sides can live with. Or 3, and hopefully not, things could escalate into direct confrontation, which would have massive consequences for millions of people. Whatever happens, this moment is not just about two leaders arguing. It's about a region's stability, about international rules, about how crises ripple outward across borders. And honestly, it's also about how the world reacts to bold moves by powerful countries. These are the kinds of moments that shape global politics for years. So let me know in the comments. Do you think Maduro will eventually take a deal? Or do you think Venezuela is headed toward even more tension? And how do you feel about President Trump's approach? Too aggressive or necessary to force change? I'm really curious to hear your perspective. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this breakdown or found it informative, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more global stories explained in a clear and human way, tap subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.